Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today's lecture topic is anthropometry. This is number 3 lecture in personal identity. So, mainly I am talking about parameters of identity, and which are, as you know, general parameters. They are age, sex, race, religion, stature, congenital features, and acquired features. Now, congenital features are very important. These are traits which are present at birth and are specific to the person concerned. So, they are very reliable factors in identity. So, what are those congenital features or parameters? Number 1, anthropometry. Number 2, dactylography. And number 3, DNA fingerprinting or DNA pattern of a person. So the first one among is anthropometry. As the name suggests, anthropos means man and metry means measurement. So anthropometry is measurement of human body parts. This method was invented and introduced by a French criminologist, Alphonse Bertillon, in 1882. It is also called Bertillonage. It's important to remember names and dates of such great contributors, as they are usually asked in MCQs and Vivas. So, what is the principle on which anthropometry is based? That is, measurements of various parts of human body do not change after adult age, that is 21 years, and no two persons show same measurements in all aspects. So this is the principle, and this is very valid principle, as you all know that when a person is a child, then he grows, becomes an adult. So for this period from age 1, day 1 to 21 years, he or she is growing and changing. But after 21, growth is almost stopped, and the person remains the same, height remains the same, features don't change much, unless in old age there are some changes. So what it can help to determine personal identity of a person. But again, remember, this anthropometry is a limited method. It is only for adults. So those persons under 21 years of age, it won't be applied on them. Next is how we can use this method, what is its application in practical life. Now, the characteristics of body parts are noted under 3 headings. Number 1, descriptive data. Number 2, body marks and body measurements. And number 3, body measurements. So, what is descriptive data? The examiner or doctor or the person who is doing this job will note the following in a person: color of hair, whether it is brown or black or grey, color of eyes, again blue, green, black, brown, complexion of the person, face, is it fair or dark, shape of the nose, shape of ear and shape of chin, etc. Chin may be square, triangular, broad, narrow. Ears may be small, large. So similarly, nose has different varieties. So all these, this data, descriptive data of a person, mostly of the face and head, helps to determine identity. Number 2, body marks. They are moles and scars on body. I think if they are visible on prominent part of the body, then they are good to. You have noted, you have seen on ID cards, if anyone has mole or scar on face somewhere, so that is entered as identity mark. Number 3 is body measurements. So they are 11 in number. So these body measurements of each person are different from other person. So what are those 11 body measurements? They are standing height of the person, then sitting height of the person, length of the head, breadth of the head. Now what is the importance of length and breadth of the head? As you have seen in race, Negroes, they are long headed, and you have seen in Mongols they are broad headed. So in this way head is important. Breadth of face, length of right ear, span of outstretched arms, length of left foot and left middle finger and left little finger and left forearm and hand. So these are various measurements of body parts. This method was commonly used in past, but now it has been replaced mostly by more sophisticated methods like dactylography and DNA typing due to various drawbacks of this method, which we will discuss in next. Now, what are drawbacks of anthropometry? This is a question usually asked in exam. So these are almost 5 points I have written here. So number 1, it is applicable to adults only. As it is a major drawback, because people under 21 years of age are in huge number in a society and they are left out. Number 2, this method is not uniform and accurate. It is full of errors due to personal factors such as humans making mistakes while measuring body parts, which make it very difficult to determine absolute or complete identification, which is the sole purpose of this method. Number 3, to measure accurately, a large number of well-trained people are required, which are not available. Number 4, it's too much work to be done. Number 5, it's a time-consuming process as it has to be done slowly and accurately. So these are the main drawbacks of anthropometry. So you may get a CQ in exam on it. And that was all about anthropometry. And you can study it from Parekh or Nasib Aman. It is given. Next is study of fingerprints. It is also called dactylography or Galton's system. You are well aware of this topic as it has been taught before. It's one of the most important SCQs from identity theme. Dactylography or study of prints of the body like fingers. It is the surest method of identity along with DNA, fingerprinting or typing. The first study or invention was made by Czechoslovakian physiologist J.E. Purkinje in 1823. So he gave the first classification of fingerprints or dactylography. Later it was organized by Sir Francis Galton, that is why it is called Galton's system, in 1892, who did scientific work on dactylography. Later it was improved and elaborated by Edward Henry. So these are few scientists who worked and who have done a great service. So what is it is identification by taking and studying prints of fingers and palms of a person. What is the principle on which it works? That is, skins of the balls of fingers and thumbs are covered with characteristic ridges and grooves which are specific to an individual. That is, no other person has exactly similar ridge patterns. This makes it very important method to determine absolute identity. That is, it is doubtless the important characteristics of ridges are they are present on birth, on dermis and epidermis of a newborn. Number 2, they remain throughout the lifespan and do not change. So they remain the same. Number 3, they form specific patterns unique to each person. So all world population, like 7 billion people, each one has a different ridge pattern. Number 4, chances of matching two prints are 1 in 64 billion. So far world population is not more than 7 billion. So there is no chance of matching. So these qualities are enough to highlight the importance of dactylography as a surest method of identification. Next is, what are types of ridges? As I have told you, these ridges are grooves. These ridges are elevation, raised area and grooves found on the palm and fingers. So they are divided into 4 types: arch, loop, whorl and composite. Number 1 is arch pattern of ridges, which is found in 6 to 7% population of the world. In this, ridges run in arch-like fashion from one side of the print to the other and terminate at sides, and do not make backward turns. So by making backward turns, the fingers may have delta, the ridges may have delta and core, but in these there is no core and no delta. Number 2 is loop. This is most common It is found in 67% world population. So you can get an MCQ, which one is most common ridge pattern. So you will write loop. So in this pattern, ridges are in the center of print and arranged like hairpins. Their ends slope downward. So it has one delta and one core. So delta means they are in giving branches, and so one delta and one core. Number 3 is whorl. This is seen in 25% population. The ridge has a characteristic design, a circular design like a whorl, which is, what is whorl? In Urdu it is called bhamar. So it's a circular design. They take clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. So there are 2 delta and 1 core in these. So far in arch pattern there is no delta and core. In loop there is 1 delta and core, and in whorl there are 2 delta and 1 core. So you can differentiate them on these basis. Number 4 ridge type is called composite. This is seen in 1 to 2% population. It has got 2 or more arches, loops and whorls with variable combinations. So that means this composite, as its name suggests, it is combined type of arch, ridge, which contains all type of patterns like arch, loop and whorl. That is why it is called composite. So that was about the ridges and their types. Next is how a fingerprint can be taken. Recording means how we can collect and get it from a person. So usually the fingerprints of accused or criminals are taken, but there are other situations like opening a bank account, applying for ID card, for immigration, for passport, etc. So then everyone has to give his fingerprint impression, and now everybody knows the procedure because everyone has visited some mobile company's office and or bank for fingerprint account. So it's very easy. It can be, but for criminals there is a forensic science laboratory. The police inspectors or those people who are investigating, they collect from the crime scene and they send it to forensic science lab where they are analyzed. This is for identity purpose. Now, why these prints are formed? These prints are formed due to moistening of skin by sweat and sebum from skin glands or by fingers soiled in blood or grease. So these are usually seen on crime scene. Now, where they are on crime scene, where a police can find them, they are found on doorknobs, furniture, weapon used by criminal. So anyone who is visiting scene of crime can detect these and collect. So how they are collected? If they are faint, a dusting powder is added to make them more visible, and they have special technique to collect them. But how to take impression from a living person there are two ways to get from a living person. Number one, like criminal or accused or anyone else. Number one is plain impressions, and number two, rolled impression. So impression means fingerprint impression. So how it is done? Plain impression are obtained by lightly pressing inked surface of tip of fingers and thumbs directly on paper. Everyone has experienced it while applying for ID card and opening bank account. So you get a on an application form or on paper, you put your thumb, you first dip your thumb, you apply ink on it, and then that inked thumb you place it on the application form, press it, and there is your fingerprint impression is marked on that paper. So that is simple plain impression. Now what happens what is that impression shows? That shows the ridges, your ridge pattern, which is specific and different from each other. Now what is rolled impression? Now this we can get by rolling inked finger or thumb from side to side. So this is a little different from plain. In plain method you just place your finger on paper, but here you roll it from side to side so that whole surface or whole ridges are imprinted. Now this was in living. In dead person of a criminal, when his dead body is brought for autopsy, the fingers are cut from dead body and they are preserved in formalin and handed over to police. Now if fingers are dried, then they are soaked in alkaline solution, and if skin is peeled off, then it is hardened by formalin. So that was about recording or collection of fingerprints. With that I conclude this lecture, and rest I will take up in the next lecture.